It's a double parsha this week, Mattos Masay. It's also Rosh Chodesh of the beginning of the 9 days before Teshuva. I want to speak about something connected to the parsha and connected to the upcoming time of Teshuva. So Parshas Mattos starts out talking about the concept of nedarim. That it talks about when a person makes a neder, then lo yachel devaro. He should not nullify his word by not fulfilling his vow. Rather, whatever comes out of his mouth, he must do. The Torah is very severely warning there's an aveira for a person to not keep what comes from his mouth. We're commanded to be people of integrity. Our words should mean something. If a person says that he's going to do something, or that they're not going to do something, or that they're going to refrain from a certain thing, that has halachic significance. And the Shulchan Aruch takes the position from one of the positions in Shas, that it's a big deal to make a neder, and in fact, that a person should not be rogil ben nedarim. He shouldn't be accustomed to making nedarim, because even if he fulfills his neder, he's still considered a rasha and a chote for making a neder. A person makes a neder, says the Shulchan Aruch, it's like building a bama, which is a forbidden mizbeach. So if you fulfill it, then it's like you brought on top of the forbidden mizbeach a carbon. It's better to find a way to try to go to a chacham and annul the vow rather than keep up with the vow. It's better to try to annul the vow, I guess, in situations where that's relevant, meaning we made a vow to do something. As you made a vow, you're not going to do something, you can't do it until you annul the vow. So it's going. It's interesting because there's a mitzvah, Kol Yotzim Mipiv Yaseh, is a mitzvah, it's just Motzos V'Zechah, just more of yes. He said there's a mitzvah to keep your vow, but it seems the danger of the Aveira overrides the benefits of making a vow and then trying to do the mitzvah of keeping it, and overrides the motivational benefits of making an neder as a motivator. So from a halachic and a mussar perspective, we have to be very careful about the way that we speak and the significance of our words. I want to share with you a fascinating medrash that ties into this and ties into Teshuva. So the medrash is in Sav Yud, Medrash Rabbah Sav Yud, near the end of Hey. The medrash is talking about Yehoyachin. Who was Yehoyachin? Yehoyachin was the second to the last king of Malchei Yehuda before the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. He's mentioned in the Megillah. In the Eichatun we say the Golus Yehoyachin, when Yehoyachin was sent down by Nebuchadnezzar to Bavel, and Mordechai was sent with him. Many of the 10,000 of the greatest of Klal Yisrael were sent with him. It was a tragedy. It was what Achashverosh calculated to begin in the beginning of the 70 years of the prophecy. And the Medrash says that Yehoyachin was regarded as not the best of kings, to put it mildly, and in fact, Yirmiyahu cursed him. Which is, I don't think it's Yirmiyahu cursing him, I think he's just proclaiming what Hashem says. This is in Yirmiyahu Chaf Beis Chaf Dalid. So the pasuk Hashem says, "Chayani Ne'um Hashem, Ki Miyeh Kenayo Ben Yehoyachin Melech Yehuda Chos Miyad Yamini Ki Yisham Et Kencha." He says, Kenayahu Ben Yehoyachin. It's another name for Yehoyachin. If he is like a signet ring on the right hand, so then I take him off and I throw him off. I throw him to the wolves. And it's stronger even in Perasik Lamed. Kolmar Hashem. Kisvus Hashazeh Ariri. This person, he will die childless. A gever lo yitzlach biyamav. Ki lo yitzlach mizaro ishjo kisva kisei David. Moshe od Yehuda. He will not be the father of the continuation of the Davidic dynasty. This is a proclamation that is made in Yirmiyah. So this would seem to be a shavua and a gezerah from Hashem. And at the same time, the pasuk tells us it's a pasuk in Chagai about, and it's also a pasuk in Divrei Hayamim, that it says specifically that he had a son, B'nai Yehoyachin Asir Shaltiel Beno. He had a son, Shaltiel. So the Medrash picks up on this. The Medrash says that Yehoyachin did Teshuva, and therefore, the Medrash says, Rabbi Avin Bar Binyamin B'Shem Rabbi Abba, that great is the koach of Teshuva. It's Mavato the Gezer and Savato the Shvua. as we see that Hashem swore, Hashem swears that he will be thrown away, and Hashem made a gezerah, kitzvah seisha ze'ariri. And at the end of the day, we have the pasuk that says, Bnei Yehoyachin aser beno Shaltiel. So Shaltiel was his name. Asir beno. Why does it say Asir? Because he was in jail when he conceived him. Shaltiel should be menu hutzishua Malchus Beis David, because from that was the Shalshalos of the Malchus Beis David. And the Mitanach Rabbi Yirmiyah says Hashem was Asir because Hashem was Asired himself with a Shvuah to allow him to continue the Malchus from him. And Shaltiel, that Hashem was Shal, the Beis Din Shamala, on the Neder. And in fact, this had the power of a Shvuah, and, so to speak, Hakadosh Baruch Hu had to go to the Beis Din Shamala to be matir the Shvuah. Because this is the power of a Shvuah. And at the same time, Hashem did so because of the Teshuva of Yehoyachin. So I want to share with you the medrash about Yehoyachin's Teshuva, just because I find it fascinating. I find it to be a tremendous Moser Shmuz. Is in Vayikra Yud Tes Vav, and the Medrash talks about how Yehoyachin was taken prisoner by Nebuchadnezzar and brought to Babel and thrown into a pit. And the Sanhedrin said, Paska Malchus Beis David biyamav? Could we allow the Malchus Beis David to end in our days? How could we allow him to die without children? And as a result, they did hishtadlus to be able to get through to Nebuchadnezzar's wife and convince her husband that Yehoyachin should be allowed conjugal visits. And so that's what happens. They lower her into the pit, and she turns to her husband and she says, Shoshana Adu Marisi, I see like a red rose. I see that there's something in the way here. And it says that he was Polish from her, and he waited for her to count and go to the mikveh and be matayr herself, and he waited. And Hakadosh Baruch Hu says, I saw in Yerushalayim you didn't keep the mitzvahs of Nida properly, but now you're being Mekayim them. So Hashem accepted this tshuva, and Hashem says Hashem was mochel him on all his avonos. And that was in fact his chus to be able to have his son Shaltiel and continue the Malchus Beis David. As we know, it said Kiyo, all of his children were murdered. So the continuation came about through Yehoyachin. So it's just an amazing idea that Yehoyachin went through what he went through, and he did tshuva. And he came to this situation now where he hasn't seen his wife in a very long time, and he doesn't know if he'll get to see another opportunity to be with her, and he passes the test, and he's makbid on the halachas of Nida, and because of this was a real sign of tshuva, and Hakadosh Baruch Hu was mochel his sins. Not only that, Hakadosh Baruch Hu went to the Beis Din Shamala Kaviyachol and was matir the shvuah, matir the gezerah, so that he would be able to have a son. So it just gives us an insight into the power of tshuva and the severity of Nadar, even with all that tshuva that Hakadosh Baruch Hu needs to go to the Beis Din Shamala in a certain sense to annul the vow. Hakadosh Baruch Hu help us that we should be people of our word and be people of integrity and be people of tshuva, and thereby achieve the tachlis of these 9 days and be able to bring about the Geula B'Karov. Have a wonderful Shabbos.